If you're into fantasy basketball, there's one place you should go for all of your news, NBA.com. Performer of the week is one Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. 38 points per game. 38 points per game in his first 3 games. I'll say it one more time. 38 points per game, 9.7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2.7 steals. I guess he's slacking on the block and just under 1 again.
What's amazing to me, this is a guy that can't shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
So for all the people who talk about you got to be able to shoot the 3, you got to be able to do this is a guy that can't shoot, but he's averaging about 38 a game in the first 3 games of the NBA season. So, Brandon, it just tells you there's a lot of different ways to put the ball in the basket, and Giannis does it in many ways.
Well, if you can't shoot, you got to be 7'1" with a 9-foot wingspan.
And handle.
And that'll work.
And attack going downhill.
John Schumann, who writes for us, Chris, had a great stat about Giannis and the start that he's off to offensively. 11 points out of his 115 total in the first 3 games have come outside the paint.
Now think about that.
11 of 115.
And every coach, what's your game plan to shoot around? Make him shoot jump shots, jam him in transition, don't let him get downhill on you. But you say that, you plan for that, you say get back when the shot goes up, we want elbows and boxes, we want to zone things off. You put in all this time and effort breaking down the film, putting in his game plan, and he goes out and he still imposes his will and does everything. Because, again, what do you do with a guy 6'11", 7 feet, with 7'2" wingspan that can handle the basketball, and when he spins from the free throw line, he ends up in the basket.
And I hate to make it, on the personal side of things, but for Giannis, obviously very emotional preseason and training camp with the loss of his father. And I love the fact, I think he had a picture out about that game ball that he got from the team with the 44 points. His career high, wrote on it, this one goes for out to my dad. Amazing start for him, and the Kobe Challenge has been issued, and these first 3 games are getting us very excited about what this season is going to be about for number 34 in Milwaukee.
Certainly a fan favorite, and like you just mentioned, a lot of reasons to root for him on the court and now off the court as well. Injuries play a big part in fantasy basketball, of course, and unfortunately Gordon Hayward going down in the first game of the season, but that means a guy like Jaylen Brown is very valuable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just devastating when you lose a guy like Gordon Hayward. Not just a great player, but a good guy in the league. But if there's a silver lining, again, it gives another young player like Jaylen Brown, who came to Boston with all this talent, but because he was on a playoff team, he didn't get a chance to get the minutes and opportunity that are Andrew Wiggins or Zach LaVine and Karl-Anthony Towns. But now, with Gordon Hayward going down, they're going to lean on him and Jason Tatum a lot in the backcourt to help Kyrie Irving to score, to show the load. Because what you don't want is Kyrie Irving going off feeling like he has to do everything scoring-wise by himself.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I was going to lean on with Jaylen Brown having obviously that great opening night game is the fact that Jaylen Brown and Tatum, I mean, Tatum's averaging 35 minutes. Look at the numbers right here that Jaylen Brown has put in. 35 minutes for him. So Brad Stevens is finding a way, Chris, where both Brown and Tatum, complementary, can play together, and in the absence of Gordon Hayward for this season, get experience, get to know one another, take some of the offensive load off of what it is that Kyrie Irving and at some point Al Horford every night is going to be relied on for 15 and 10 or 12 rebounds. The 2 of these guys together, great pickups for Boston, but a lot more emphasis and shouldered responsibility for these 2 young players.
Something we're not going to see in fantasy basketball, but matters on an actual basketball court. As we see with Jaylen Brown, it seemed like he learned a lot from Avery Bradley as far as defensively. How much do you like his growth in just his second year?
Well, that's one thing people don't think about sports. So they play defense. When you look at Marcus Smart, those guys are grimy, they're gritty, they get after you. When you look at Jaylen Brown, the metrics, his length, his athleticism. And if you have that, when you play with those guys, Marcus Smart, when you play with guys like that, that defensive mentality kind of transfers over to guys. And if Boston's going to pick up the pieces from losing Gordon Hayward, if they're still going to be one of those top 4 teams in the East, look, they can score the ball, but they're going to have to really rely on their defense because they're not a big team. My only question for Boston, can they rebound the basketball enough? That's their Achilles heel. They can get initial stops, but the defense is not over until you finish it off with the rebound.
Yeah, I think Sam's making a great point with regards to Jaylen Brown because, trust me, Chris, last year all the minutes that Jaylen Brown didn't play, I guarantee you he was on the bench watching the reason why Avery Bradley does play. And the reason why opponents around the league at that two-guard position, regardless of the voting from the media saying that Avery Bradley is one of the best perimeter defenders, for him every day in practice last year to go up against a player like that and to see the way that Brad Stevens probably communicated to the team about Avery's play, that's something that a really smart, intelligent young player that wants playing time would gravitate towards. He's going to be doing those things for the Celtics this year.
If you want to get on the court early as a young player, play D. If you do that, look, it's easier to score in the NBA, especially when you're playing with talented players. If you can make a 15, 17-foot shot or get out in transition and run, attack the basket, and get to the free throw line, you can find ways to score. The tough thing in the NBA, because the players are so talented, team defense, and young guys are just not accustomed to, they're used to hugging their man. They're not used to playing the team defense that it takes in the NBA because the guys are so talented. It takes 1.5 players to guard the great players.
Be a young player on a bad team, then you're going to play a lot.
That's how it works.
Be a young player on a good team, play some defense.
You got to fight
for
it. You got to fight for your minute.